doing a little garden tour. It is May 11th at about 10:30 in the morning, and it's 58 degrees, which is very chilly for this time of year. I wanted to do a tour because it seems like the next 10 to 11 days we're going to have rain every single day, and we're expected rain here in a few hours. So here is my garden. These are all potatoes. I have 4 different varieties of potatoes planted in these pots. Got some chamomile, it's looking good. And on the trellis I have clematis on both sides, and there's some flowering. I planted a little bit of chives, and then there's a Brazilian starfish pepper right there. And we'll go in. Still kind of, everything's getting together. Got pots kind of laying around. We'll start over here. In these 2 stock tanks, got some kale that I've had over winter, and it's flowering. Thinking about letting it go to seed so I can collect some of the seeds for next year. There's a little bit of oregano down in there, and then I've got celery stalks growing right there. And in this one, I've got some Tokyo bunching onions, and then a little few things here or there. I've got cilantro coming up here. I do have some Swiss chard, and then some nasturtiums in the back. And they're doing really good. And then over in this box, I've got more potatoes, and then I've got ginger over here on the side. Never grown ginger before, so it's not liking this cooler weather. It's looking a little yellow. It likes it really hot. And then I've got these 2 new boxes on this side, and I've got peppers in these. And these peppers I started really early, and for some reason they're just not doing very well. I did a little bit of blood meal and some fish emulsions yesterday because they're kind of yellow. It looks like maybe they are struggling to get some nitrogen. And the same with these, they're kind of looking puny. But it's really cold, so I mean, for peppers it's pretty cold out. They like it hot too. And then back here I have asparagus. This is the 2nd year in this bed for asparagus, so we haven't gotten anything yet. I did plant a little bit of sunflowers in there just to kind of grow up in there just for this season to make the bed look a little bit better. But hopefully next year we'll have some asparagus in this bed. And in this bed I have echinacea. Got some onions growing on the side, and then this bed is mainly garlic, so all garlic, 3 different varieties. Not exactly sure what the varieties are. I'd have to look them up. And then I have these 2 black pots on the end, and they are potatoes. Still, I planted 10 pounds of potatoes, so we should have plenty of potatoes this year. Got some mint coming up. And then this bed is cherry tomatoes. I have leeks over here on the right, and then I've got onions over here down this side. And then right here I planted a couple of little sunflowers, and then there's a basil right there too. So I just kind of have things everywhere. I learned a trick about planting the onions all around your bed so you don't waste a whole bed like I did the garlic, because I can't really plant anything in that bed until I pull up that garlic. So I did onions all around several of my beds, so I could put something in the middle and have 2 different things in that bed. So this bed is tomatoes. They're doing really, really well. I planted 116 tomato plants this year. So, and then on this bed over here is more tomatoes. Those are my paste tomatoes. I have Amish paste and some Juliet's. On this side I have Dr. Weechee's yellow, Paul Robson's, and they are all doing really well. And then in my little bags, I just have a few things here and there. There's rosemary, patchouli, and it doesn't look like it's doing very well. Hopefully it'll make it. Then I have a yellow habanero. That is yarrow. And then right here is, let me see, I don't know what that is. That is Mexican tarragon right there. And then there's a puma pepper. And then I have these other two bags. That's basil, and it's of course not looking too good because it doesn't like the cold either. And then there's another thing of chamomile. So and then this bed right here, I've got onions going all around. And I've got 2 red cabbages, a little bit of basil right there. And there's eggplants. And those 2 oryx reseeded themselves, so I just let them grow. I did grow a whole bed in here last year. And then growing on the trellis, I've got beans. So, and those will be long yard beans, pole beans. So they'll grow up the trellis, and on the other side I have the same beans growing there. And my strawberry bed is looking amazing. I have got so many strawberries growing under there. You can see that. This bed is going to be full of strawberries. And then there's a little pepper plant, Thai red chili. And then I have 2 more over here. They're not liking the cold, but they're surviving. Hopefully they'll perk up when it gets warmer. And then I have a purple moonflower, and the flea beetles just ate it up. So I did have to spray it with a little bit of organic insecticide. So hopefully it'll make it through. And in this little pot I have a toothache plant. You see that little bud? If you have a toothache, you can pinch that off and chew on it, and it gives your mouth a numbing sensation. And then there's a basil right there. And then there are my carrots. They're looking really good. I'm hoping I'll get some carrots before it gets too hot. And I did plant peas, but I don't think they're going to produce anything by the time it warms up. So I went ahead and planted a few pepper plants in between the peas, so that when I pull out the peas, I will have some pepper plants in here. And there's more carrots. And then this whole row is radishes. So I've been picking on these for quite a while. The front are like a breakfast radish, and then the back ones are a watermelon radish, so they'll take a little bit longer, but these are ready to go. I've been picking on those. And I've got a little pot over here that has lemon verbena. I've got 2 different plants, so that one was looking kind of sickly, so I went and got a different plant, so hopefully they'll take off. And there's 3 jigsaw peppers. And look at the leaves. I mean, the leaves on that are just gorgeous. Even if it doesn't produce peppers, it's going to be a very pretty plant. And then on this trellis, I've got cucumbers. And they're looking pretty good. Starting to grow and grab onto the trellis. And then back here on these 2 new beds, I've got peppers again. I'm thinking maybe they're not doing very well is because of the new soil that I put in. There was a lot of bark in it, and supposedly because when the bark deteriorates, it kind of just sucks all the nitrogen out, so they don't get enough nitrogen. So I did put blood meal and I did fish emulsion yesterday on both of these beds, so I'm hoping that'll help. This is all paprika, like the spice, so I'm hoping to get these and dry them, and then we will have enough paprika for the rest of the year. And here's another tomato bed. This is all cherries, and then some of those are already beginning to bloom, but they're looking really, really well. And we'll go back over here to this side. This is my mint bed and weeds. I don't really want to put anything else in here. I actually have an ashwagandha right there. But this is all mint because it will just take over. This is actually lemon balm. This is mint. And then I have catmint or catnip right here. But it will just take over this whole tiny little bed. So I don't really want to plant anything in here besides what I've got because it will probably be overrun. Continuing on. In this bed, there's the catmint or catnip. And I planted dill 1 year, and once you plant dill and let it go to seed, you never have to plant dill again. There is dill all over that I'm keeping in this bed. So, and then right here is a little sunflower, and then I've got cucumbers going in right here, and Armenian cucumbers, I believe, are on the ends, and then just a pickling cucumber in the middle. And then the same over there, I've got cucumbers growing in on that side of the trellis. And there's a little pesto basil. And I will go over here because I skipped this row. This is cucumbers right there. And then I have collards. This is all collards. I've never grown collards before. They look really good. But I have a heck of a time with cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. It's just not cool enough for them to develop heads. I just can't seem to get a head on any of those. So I thought I'd do collards since they don't really need to grow a head. Then I have onions coming in here. And this is my favorite lettuce of all time. It's a head lettuce, Salanova lettuce. It comes from Johnny Seed Company, and it's a pelleted, so it's really easy to plant. And so I planted all that, the red and the green. And then there's beets coming up over here. And then I planted a basil right there. And that's my thyme that's been here 3 or 4 years. It just gets bigger and bigger every year. Got a little basil there. And then I've had these chives for years, 10 years. And they keep coming up. I've never had to replant the chives. And they're just looking really pretty. I love the purple blooms. All right, we'll go back here and do this last bed back here. I do have more peppers, and then there's onions all growing around here. These are all like big bell peppers. And then this is the first year I've grown these. These are sunchokes. And supposedly they will take over the whole entire bed, which is fine. Next year we'll just let these take over. But they're a root vegetable, so at the end of the season they actually produce sunflowers. They'll grow up and have really pretty sunflowers, and at the end of the season they die off, and you can dig up the roots and store them like you would a potato. They're kind of similar to potatoes, but they actually do give you gas. So I think you have to carefully eat just a few here and there. But they're a very, very good crop. You'll never have to, they will just continue to just grow. They're very evasive, just take over this whole entire bed. So I will never have to plant them again. And then I actually, back here, went ahead and planted more. So these are all sunchokes right here next to my compost bin. And then I have comfrey, which is flowering. So this is the second year I've had comfrey. And then I planted 2 cucumbers in these half barrels, and they got a little sun damage. So, but they're doing fine. They should bounce back and be fine. And so that is my garden tour. Now we'll go over to my tomato patch. This is all tomatoes. This is the first time I've ever done an in-ground garden. So we laid down the weed fabric and then just cut holes and planted the tomatoes in the holes, and then I'm doing a cattle panel trellis. So I've actually got 80 tomato plants in here. Plus I have 4 tomatillos. I did 4 tomatillos. You need more than 1 tomatillo for them to cross-pollinate. So I have 2 green and 2 purple. But this is all my tomato bed. We should have plenty of tomatoes. They're all looking really good. I did stake them up because the wind here is really bad. So until they get big enough to go to the cattle panel, I just put little stakes in the ground to stake them up so the wind wouldn't break them. I'm not so sure about this plastic. It's great, but I was really worried about it being too hot when we get all our really warm weather. So that's why I put the straw all around the tomatoes, hoping it would help a little bit. But this plastic was a little bit cheaper than some of the other ground cover, so we just went with this year. And then on the very end, I've got some zucchini rampicante. This one's not looking too good. It's kind of beat up. But there's 3 here on the end. And then toward the greenhouse, I have more planted on the side. I had really good luck last year planting them next to my greenhouse away from the garden. I was really worried about squash bugs. I did not have any squash bugs last year, but this is a different type that is very resistant to vine borers. It has a solid stem instead of a hollow stem, but it doesn't say much about squash bugs. So let's hope we have good luck this year again and have no squash bugs. And then here I've got some borage in my stevia. Right there is looking kind of puny. And then this bed is flowers. Got some Gerber daisies coming up, some marigolds. I'm not for sure what this one is, but it's doing very well. And then here I have lovage, which I think I'm going to transplant in a bigger pot here in a little bit. I've got some calendulas coming in right here. And then this is a whole pot of all different kinds of things, herbs. There's some peppers, lemon mint, my basil right here, which is looking puny. Got some more thyme. And then these 2. This is a St. John's wort plant. And then this one I'm thinking is a goji berry. Not really sure. I lost the label. And I've just kind of been going with it, waiting for it to produce some fruit or something. And it's not done nothing. I think maybe I might need to replant it in a different pot. And then right here I've got my lime tree, which has not produced limes yet, and it kind of got hit by the frost. It's looking a little burnt on the top there. And then down here I've got a little pepper, and then this is red yucca. I started from seed, and it's like 2 years old, and it's that big. But it's growing really good. I don't know where I'm going to plant it yet. And then I have some more Puma peppers. And then these are Sugar Rush peach pepper. And then in here I have Natapinos. I didn't know what to do in these boxes. I had lettuce and stuff in here over winter, but this side of the greenhouse is sun constantly. So of course the lettuce is bolting. I've got it cut down maybe for another cutting. But once this lettuce is gone, I need something that's going to be in the sun 24 hours a day. So I planted some habaneros and then these natapinos, so we'll see how they do. And then there's another one of those jigsaw peppers that are just so pretty. And then since my stevia over there was puny, I got another stevia. And here are some plants I overwintered in the house. I got this one as a gift, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. And this one is a coffee plant. So I actually bought it at IKEA like a year ago. And this planter has valerian, oregano. Is it valerian, oregano? And this is feverfew. And that's all going to have to be repotted because that's going to get way too big for that little pot. And then down here I've got more thyme, And summer savory, which doesn't look like it's doing too good. Might be too cold. And then some bay leaves right there. And that's basically it for my garden tour.